What's good, everybody? This is Trox. Reese is out today. He has some deadlines that he has to meet, so I am going to be a one-man show, but that doesn't stop me from saying, what's up with your mind? Okay, now, this is what we're doing. Today, we have a special guest to fill in the shoes of Reese, or at least try to. But more importantly, she's coming to talk to us about a very important, very overlooked, almost forgotten about historical figure. And this woman is Black Girl Magic, and she's here to talk about Black Girl Magic, but we're gonna get into that in a second. Before we do that, I gotta tell y'all, I went to the beach yesterday. I took my bicycle. It was windy, sand everywhere. I thought I was gonna get in shape if I ride that thing for 3 miles on the beach. And on the sidewalk, I tried to ride in the sand. Man, all that water, all that wind, and I couldn't drink any of it. And I said to myself, I really wish I had some H2O right now. And then I remembered, I can get water anytime I want to, because that is who sponsors this episode of the IDontBeKnowing podcast. That's right. Today's episode is brought to you by H2O, water, God's liquid gold. And when you're thirsty, get out there and quench it, okay? Get out there and quench it. And it's on the house today. It is on the house. Go find you some water. That's who our ad is for today. And if you are a real advertiser and you're looking for a nice, humble, beautiful podcast to put your energy into, we got you. The door's open. Hit us in the DM, we got you. Okay, now, with that being said, this is typically when Reese would come in and drop us off one of his famous acapella beatboxing energies. But without him, all you have is my vocals, and this is what you get.
It's all right.
I don't be knowing these informational things. I don't be knowing. And that's it. Okay.
Watch out, Reese. I'm coming for your beatboxing position.
Now, that lovely voice you hear right there, I'm going to go ahead and introduce her. That is today's special guest. And at this point, the co-host for this episode, she is a dear, dear, sweet friend of mine. She is an actress. She's a very talented screenwriter. She is a revolutionary titan in the industry of brand strategy. And on top of that, is a business coach. You got an idea, she's going to teach you how to bring that idea up to the earth and then plant the seed that helps you turn it into a profitable business. Her social media handles also are her name, which is Monet Ravenell. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing amazing, my friend. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing very well. I'm excited to have you, and I'm excited to talk about our topic of today.
Well, I'm very excited to be here.
Okay, now before we get started, why don't you go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you, because within 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure they're going to be searching the ads.
All right, so check this out. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't be that active on LinkedIn though, but go ahead, reach out to your girl. That's it. That's all I got.
Why did you go full sister?
Y'all thought I was gonna have a whole list. I ain't doing all that.
Okay, so I softly introduced you, but the origin of our friendship is kind of funny, actually. For those who don't know, we were in a writers collective, for lack of better words, that kind of spiraled out of like COVID taking over and kicking out all the free time things that we would be doing, all our hobbies and activities. And, we linked up with about 2 other people. And since then, we've been writing, creating, and laughing together ever since. And it's I said friend, but it really does feel like we're cousins, maybe even siblings at this point, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, well, cousin, sibling, because we are from that part of the world, I guess. That was a really bad joke. That was a terrible attempt at a joke.
What are you trying to say about cousin siblings?
I know. Don't at me, cousin siblings. I do not want y'all strong asses after me. Okay. So like I said, we brought you in to talk about a very prolific figure in the Black history zeitgeist, and that is Josephine Baker. Now, a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot of people, I'm sure not enough people know about who this person is and all that she's done. So before we get into the details of her life and her contributions to our current version of America, I want to talk about who she was back then. Born on June 3rd, 1906, I believe she was a Gemini, the Masters of Lies, which will come into play a little bit later.
Hold on. Don't be on my Gemini sister, okay? She is my brethren. Don't do it. Don't do it.
But like I was saying, according to my special guest, and I quote, she was the very first Black international superstar, and unquoting her next to Jesus Christ, because we know that we know what the history is there. But in addition to being a icon, one of the first Black icons that was internationally accepted for her dancing and her singing skills and her personality, she was also a spy in the French Resistance during World War II. And before she was called home in 1975, she was extremely active with the Red Cross nonprofit organization. She managed to adopt 10 kids while being on this earth. And she literally spoke beside Dr. Martin Luther King at his famous I Have a Dream speech. Ladies and gentlemen, it was only right that I went out and got one of my essence of Black girl magic and Miss Monet to come and talk about a history's version of Black girl magic, which is Josephine Baker. Monet, let's get into this. How are you, first of all?
I am doing amazing.
Are you really? Is life treating you well today?
Life is treating me very well today.
That's what I like to hear. When we were trying to come up with content for this week, I purposely avoided doing Black history during the month of February because I didn't want Black history to be condensed down to the shortest month of the year. So here we are, the first episode after Black history, and we're going to do Black year. We're going to do Black life. We're going to do it all.
But Alex, technically we're still in February.
On today's recording date, the podcast comes out in 2 weeks.
That's true. That's true.
That's so funny. See, this is the sister energy I'm talking about. Correcting her brother. Good gracious. Okay. So yeah. Now here's what I want to know. We're going to get into the details of her life, but before we do so, I kind of want to know how you came across this figure and what type of influence has she had on you in your life?
Oh my gosh. I mean, she pretty much influences everything I do, not even just as a performer, but just as an entrepreneur, or anytime I want to do something where I feel like I have to take a risk or do something I'm scared to do. Because she was very, very fearless from a really young age. As far as how did I come across her, I don't know. I know that it's been years. So I was like looking for just figures in history to like maybe do a project about, because I was acting and I really didn't like a lot of scripts that I came across. So I was like, well, let me just see if there's like any interesting people in history that I could look into. And I just remember somebody telling me, oh, you remind me so much of like Josephine Baker, because I was dancing. I'm a belly dancer. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me look her up and everything. And so I know that she was known to do the banana dance. She danced with like this banana skirt. And that's pretty much what a lot of people know her for. That's like her claim to fame. But as you've already stated, she's done so much more. So as I was investigating, I was like, wow, this woman is freaking incredible. And so I remember just talking to a friend about her, and I was like, I want to do her life, but like she's done so much that like I don't even know like how I could condense everything into one little thing. And my friend was like, just find one snippet of her life that you think is just really, really fascinating, and then try to do like a short around that. And so it was the war piece. I was like, when I read that she was a spy, it just blew my mind. And I was like, nobody has talked about this. There's a movie with Lynn Whitfield, the Josephine Baker story. they don't even like touch on it like
Mm.
at all. And I'm like, this is such a missing part. And I was really compelled to do it because I feel like, you know, she was known to be like this sexy, the sex symbol, right? And, you know, she definitely leaned into that. It's not like it was something she was against, but I felt like, you know, the missing part of her legacy was the war piece and the activism and just her whole ideals around freedom. um, I am very passionate. Like one of my values and my belief system is that everyone should have autonomy. Everyone deserves to be free. And that is something that like is what drove Josephine as well from like a very young age.
Mm.
Um, because, you know, she grew up, well, for the first like 13 to 14 years of her life in the States, early 1900s, that was not that was not the business
Not
for
at all.
Black women or Black people in general.
Not at all.
So you know, her upbringing and being very poor like drove her to be as successful as she was. And she just, man, she just went for it. And so when you say like, does she and how does she inspire me, it's like literally when I know I need to do something, I literally say like, what would Josephine do? And I just sit
Mm.
on it.
Mm.
And I literally like visualize her telling me what to do. And I go do that thing.
You know what's you know what's funny about that? First of all, that's cool. I think that's actually really cool. Um, Immediately, I couldn't help but to think that I said next to Jesus, she was the first Black international superstar, and then you literally said, "What would Josephine do?"
That's so funny. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
But you brought up some cool points. One, it's so hard as Black people born before, I don't know, maybe 2000, I don't know, to find like a prolific superstar that's not tied up in sports and who's not solely a superstar from the entertainment industry. And then I imagine it must be that much harder for Black women. And then along comes this this shining bright star, and Josephine, and you come across her. The similarities are elements of entertainment, ideas about how the world should work, and then most importantly, wanting to manifest your own environment to change and bend in your will so that you can share your gifts with the world. So I think it's really cool that y'all found each other. And I'm even more excited that you get to interview her over and over again through your research, and you're finding ways to put that on the page so that we get to spend time with her as well once your film comes out. So producers, agents, everyone, you want to read this thing, okay? You want to find Monet and you want to read this thing. She has a really exciting take on some of the things that Josephine was able to accomplish while she was on this planet. So, with that, let's talk about some of those things. You highlighted that she pretty much took control of her life at a very young age. Lean into that a little bit more. What exactly were you alluding to?
Yeah. So you know, no surprise, she grew up very, very poor. And I'm sure that was part of her motivation for like doing the risky things that she did. But I'll just give a couple of examples. So she always liked to perform, but she wasn't like classically trained or anything like that. So there was this group called the Dixie Steppers, and they were like a local theater sensation. And so her and her little sister, they would like work for the week for white people, like cleaning and going up to their houses. And so, well, part of her fearlessness started with getting her job. So she began working when she was, I don't know, I guess like 9 or so or 10. And
Wow.
so she would go up to random white people's homes in like the rich parts of St. Louis, say, hey, do you need any work? And they'd be like, girl, you ain't old enough to be working. And she'd be like, I'm 15, but she was like 10. So, did that for a couple of years, and she would always say they would make like 15 cents here, 16 cents there for the week.
Wow.
So y'all thinking y'all ain't got no money?
Oh my gosh.
She really didn't have money. And so, but she would take that money and go see the Dixie Steppers performing. And, you know, she started thinking like, I should be a part of this, this thing. So she went up to the director and she was like, hey, can I work? Can I be a part of your show? And he's like, get out of here, kid. You're too young to be working for me, kid. You can't work. You're only, what are you, like 11, 12, you know? And she's like, I can do it, you know? So the Dixie Steppers, they had their whole situation together. It was like a chorus line of like beautiful Black women. They were doing the high kicks and everything like that. And the director's like, so, you know, you got dance experience, kid? And she's like, yeah, of course.
Why is that the director's voice? Why is that the director's voice in your head?
The first male voice that popped in my head.
Your director's
I'm sure he definitely did not sound like that.
He's been smoking since 1807.
But we're gonna keep going. I gotta stay in character now.
My bad. Yep.
So, you know, he's like, you know, what do you do, kid? And she's just like, yeah, I can dance and everything like that. So, you know, she starts doing the audition and she's terrible. Like, she's just wild. Josephine was always like a wild dancer, you know, not very like refined, but just kind of like, you know, all over the place. Part of the reason that like she blew up was like because of her style. But anyway, so the director looks at her and he's just like, all right, you're gonna be Cupid. You're not gonna be a chorus girl. You're gonna be Cupid.
Is that like the star role?
What is Cupid? What is that? So the day of the show starts, and Josephine and all of her wildness, she gets out on stage and she like kicks her leg and like something knocks down like the curtains and everything. And so to play it off, she starts making like all these faces and stuff. And so the audience is like dying laughing. And so after that, she's like, man, I know this is it. I'm done. But the director was like, kid, you were sensational. We're going to keep this in the act and you're going to mess up every show. So that started her performance journey, right? So the Dixie Steppers, they ended up like getting a name for themselves and they were invited to go on tour.
Oh, wow. So
now at this point, Josephine's like 13 and she's like, yeah, well, obviously I'm going with you guys. And the director's like, nah, fam. Like, this was cool locally, like, but I can't babysit you on tour, fam. So of course she like begs and pleads, you know, Josephine has a way with people. So she was able to finagle herself onto this tour. And while she was on the tour though, you know, not all of the chorus girls were like that happy that she was there, you know, because it's like, they're supposed to be the stars, but she's like doing these funny faces and being comedic, and they're trying to be like these elegant dancers. So, you know, they was hating on her a little bit.
I bet.
So, you know, like one of the dancers might be like, hey, Big Daddy.
Why is that? Okay, time out. For those of you who can't see the podcast, first of all,
he ain't nothing but trouble, Big Daddy. You gotta kick this kid to the curb, you know.
First of all, why is this nigga's name Big Daddy? First of all,
so bad because his name is definitely not Big Daddy. I want to say it was Harold, but
no, we called him Big Daddy. Big Daddy Harold. That's what his name is.
Did you know everybody was Big Daddy? What are you gonna do about it, big boy?
Okay, listen. All right. So, you know
Hey,
what?
I am giving you the full Josephine experience. Producers, directors, call me.
All right, you gonna make me pass out. I swear. My glasses are fogging up from laughing. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? All right. So with that being said, she's 13. The tour advances. She
Listen.
gets sick and can't go, and then she does what?
Okay, so yes, I'm giving you the long
No, I'm
trilogy.
enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, so basically, while she's on the tour, she's having problems. So the director's like, thank you for your services, but you're no longer needed. I'm going to go ahead and send you home because you're just a liability at this point. It's too much to feed you. You're getting sick. Like, we need to thank you, but we need you to send you home. So Josephine immediately gets the scamming and plotting. Like typical Josephine fashion. She's like, nah, like I go home when I'm ready to go home. So she packs herself into a crate of costumes that they
Wow.
were taking on tour with them. And she hid underneath the costumes so that she could go to the next city, which I think was New York. And when they undid the crate, they saw her there. She was half dead,
Oh
child.
my
They were like,
gosh.
oh, Lord.
Wait. Somebody opened that crate up and was like, Big Daddy Hell! Goddamn girl in here!
Yeah, like she was dead, half dead.
Oh my
But
gosh.
he's like, man, you're so crazy. Like, just, fine. We gonna keep you for the rest of the tour, whatever. And then from there, things started to trickle down. They weren't making as many sales. And then another opportunity magically appeared, which was Shuffle Along. And for those that don't know, Shuffle Along was like the first all Black play with Black directors and playwrights and actors and everything like that on Broadway.
I heard that's where the Keeper Shuffle came from, was that play.
This is news to me.
It's news to me because I don't be knowing. That's a lie.
I'm like, what? Okay, let's try to keep this on Josephine.
Dang it. All right, fine. Let's
So
get back to the lady of the
that
hour.
was cute. That was cute. But we gonna keep it on Josephine. So the interesting thing though about that play is the director of that also didn't really want Josephine. And the reason for that is, so what was weird about Shuffle Along is like they were calling it an all Black play, but the director purposely cast all light-skinned women. Like he wanted the lightest Black women he could find to like appeal to white people, but still be able to say like, we have this all Black review here.
Yeah.
But he was getting like ethnically ambiguous and like the lightest Black. And so he was telling Josephine, like, you're too dark. Like, I can't have you in this thing.
Right.
Darky.
She barely passed the
darky. Like
the brown, what is it, the paper bag test? She barely passed that. Yeah, that's crazy.
And it is crazy because she wasn't even like really that dark, but like I guess compared to them. And that was another fateful situation where she was able to talk herself into being a part of the thing as like a stand-in.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the girls couldn't perform one day. And so then she was able to step up and do the performance. Once again, became the star of the show.
Yeah. You know what? That's guys, we're just like scratching the surface. We literally didn't even get into the spy stuff yet because the first 13, 14, 15 years of her life is so freaking jam-packed. Like Monet said, she gave you the cliff notes of her life. That was the cliff notes. That's how big her life was. And in the midst of all that, 13, got married. Got married in the midst of all of that. Like, she, and now let's slow down too. We're talking about 1901, 1910, 20. 13 back then was like 1920. You know? I mean,
13 back then was literally like 25.
I mean, you was already like,
babies.
yeah, you was almost
Like,
qualified for the
full adult.
AARP at 15 back then, you know?
They was definitely adulting at teen.
That's crazy. That is crazy to think about. Okay, but in addition to that, she's doing this in an era that America likes to try to sweep under the rug, which was, segregation and post-slavery. And even as Monet highlighted, the fact that she was considered too dark, whatever that actually means, which colorism is still a big issue in the industry we are actively trying to change right now. But back then it was so much more worse because you didn't have a voice if you had melanin in your skin. So she said, and correct me if I'm wrong, eventually she said, enough. Y'all don't want me. She pulled a Fantasia. If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Go ahead and free yourself. I'm going to France.
That was my very sad attempt at doing.
Here's the worst part. I knew exactly what you were doing. I knew exactly what you was doing. Okay. So, of course, she goes to France and she becomes this international icon. Monet said
it was like an immediate sensation.
After being told no over and over again and being pooped on every way possible in America, she's like, you know what? If they don't want me here, I'll leave. I know what my destiny is. I know what my magic is. I'm going to go. And when I get there, they going to love me and y'all going to be like, dang, we messed up. So let's talk about that briefly because I really want to get into that spy stuff.
I know. You like, Monet, hurry the hell up so we can
well, here's the thing. When people look her up, these are the things that people get most excited about. And I don't think a lot of people understand, like, she was one of the first female spies and definitely one of the first Black spies. And well, actually, is that true? I don't be knowing, but it feels like that's the right thing to say.
I don't think she was the first Black spy. Just an aside, there was a woman named Mary Elizabeth Bowser.
What?
Who was a slave spy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Are you going to come back and tell us about that one? Not right now, I mean in the future.
Her story before Josephine, but now I'm like, I can't do 2 spy stories in a row.
I feel like you could and you should. I feel like you could and you should.
Maybe
you could sensationalize them too and no, actually, I'm not going to pitch on this show because I want you to take that for yourself. Let's get back to work here.
Okay, back to Josephine. Josephine over here like, girl, if you don't get back to me.
She's like, I can't have nothing for myself. I always got to share the light with her.
So, okay, really quick synopsis. So, to be honest, Josephine was discovered again. Like, when she was in Shuffle Along, a lady from France came and was like the dance coordinator or something. And she was like, yo, you can make like buku bucks in France. And the interesting thing is, and Josephine was like torn about it, but then she's like, F it, let's go to France for the very things that you're talking about. But the interesting thing about that is when she got over there, they were like, oh, you're too light.
Wow.
So from the previous, where the Black people were telling her she was too dark, and then she goes to France and they're like, oh, girl, like, we need to put some extra foundation on you, girl. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
And France.
Yeah. And that, honestly, that is probably the reason why it was so easy for her to be a spy. I know it is because literally the second she stepped foot on French soil, she was embraced.
Wow.
And everything about her features, her wild dancing that people used to make fun of was like, that was true art, to the French. They were like, yes. I know she did like, dance topless and everything like that. And they didn't have a problem with it. You know, like Euro's always been like real loose with it and like cool loose.
No pun intended.
So, her life was going great. And, I'm just fast forwarding here, but she had a good long run as like singer, actress, dancer in France. But eventually, things started to dry up and she was getting older. And so, World War II happens. Your boy Hitler had lost his ever freaking mind and basically, declared war on France. And when that happened, that shut down all of the artistic stuff.
Yeah.
So that was very triggering for Josephine, number one. And number two, it was triggering because, like I said, she's all about freedom and equality. And so that is being threatened now. So basically, Josephine's manager had a brother. I believe his name was Felix.
Mm-hmm.
And the brother's name was Daniel. And he was working as a spy for the French resistance. I would say they were like a guerrilla, independent, like military operations, not like the official France military brigade, but like their own thing. I think. Don't quote me on that. I just know their official name was the French Resistance. And so they are trying to scoop up what's called correspondence to work with them. And he brought this idea to this Captain Jacques, who was the head of the French Resistance, and was like, hey, I think Josephine would be a really great candidate for this situation. And Jacques was like, absolutely not. No way, no how. I am not going to be working with Josephine Baker. Are you serious? Like, and the reason for that is...
Wait. No. Time out. First and foremost. Are y'all hearing this? That is 4 people that have came out of her mouth today. That is at least 4. Hold on. All right. We have Pimp Daddy Harry. No, what was it? Big Daddy Harold. We have Big Daddy Harold. We had Jealous Belle. We have her real voice, and now we got Captain Jacques. Like, how many? Let's keep count, y'all. I count 4 right now. I'm betting we're gonna end up with 6 original voices before it's all said and done. But that's my ADD taking over. Let's see what the captain had to say.
So Jacques is like, nah, man. But like the reason why he was so resistant is because during World War I, there was this spy named Mata Hari. I believe she was Dutch, and she was a double spy, and they considered her a traitor, like the biggest traitor to France.
Wow.
And she was beheaded.
Wow.
But even that is like, we don't even know if it's true that she was a double spy. Like now I've read that she kind of took the fall on some stuff. So anyway, it's not about Mata, but that
Josephine is still like, stop talking about other people. Is you talking about me or is you not?
This is just a segue, Queen Josie. It's just a segue. Okay.
She is thirsty for this story to get out. Speaking of thirst, if you are thirsty as well, make sure you drink yourself some water. Again, this is another ad spot. Look at that.
I just happen to have some water right now.
Well, you know what? You get you a little swig, hydrate your vocals, get these other 2 voices that are in you ready to be released, okay? And while you do that, I'm going to remind our advertisers that this is where they can be advertised with this energy, with this clarity, and with this sensationalism. Guys, come on. Don't miss out. This is IDontBeKnowing Podcast. Drink you some water and use our hashtag code, which is hashtag IDBK, and drink up today. If Reese was here, he would go right there. Okay.
That's some very high quality advertising right there.
Thank you so much. You know, we practice it really poorly, but we do. Okay. But so Jacques had ideas about why women couldn't be spies based off of the double agent, and they were like, no, Josephine built different. She built for this.
She's built different. Now, what made him change his mind is he came to her chateau and he was like expecting to see this diva all glammed up and everything. But when he got there, she was like playing with her snails. and like she had no makeup on, and she was like, she had like a
Wait.
snail in her pocket, and she
Wait.
like,
Wait. Josephine, come down here. Come talk to us right now.
she had a pet tiger.
What?
Yeah, she had a pet tiger. The pet tiger was a part of the show, and then like I guess it got old or whatever. But yeah, she had a whole. She was all about. She never had kids of her own, so before she had the kids, she was just like collecting animals.
She was out here living the Princess Jasmine life. She had an audience. She had her own palace, or excuse me, chateau. She had a tiger. She out here talking to other animals, snails, and Aladdin was showing up and was like, "Listen, I got a proposition for you." Josephine really is different.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back. Josephine, we're sorry. As you were, Monet.
Yeah, so he sees her like just cool and chill, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I guess you're not how I thought that you were." And so they enter into this partnership, if you will. So from there, it was on. It was on like Donkey Kong. So basically, she was supposed to be like collecting intel during her performances because she would get invited to like be around dignitaries and things of that nature. So what she would do is like take her sheet music and like record, just listen to like what's gonna be going down and like record that information on her sheet music, but it was like with invisible ink.
Wait,
and
what?
So Jacques, he would get different passports for her and himself, and he was parading around like he was her dance director, quote unquote, so that they could like maneuver between borders, because like the borders, both French and Nazis were there. It was weird because like once the Nazis took over, like they were like kind of governing stuff. The government basically like took off and ran.
Yeah, it ditched the people, right? For lack of a better word. It kind of like bailed.
Yeah, they bailed. Because there was like the north of France is where it was all like hectic, and then the south of France is like where people were running to, and I think that's where the government went, was the south of France. Oh, Casablanca like touches on this.
Got you.
In the movie. So yeah, they just left them high and dry. So now the French resistance is like, okay, I guess we gotta like handle stuff since the government ain't gonna be handling anything. And so
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So in your research, especially when you start getting into the spy details, because I've read your pilot, and you really do get into like some of the ins and outs, some of the intricate things that she was facing. Wow, that was loud. Some of the intricate things that she was facing during doing her work, her spy work. What was some of like the heart racing things that you were reading while coming across? What story like kind of stained your imagination while you were reading about her missions?
Well, she also learned how to fly a plane, by the way.
Who is Dos Equis? Who is it? Because he ain't got nothing on Josephine. He's the most interesting man on the planet. He ain't got nothing on Josephine. Wait. Okay, time out. She out here mailing herself to go on tour. She out here at 10, pretending to be 15 so she can work. She out here getting married and having whole 2-week marriages the first time at the age of what? Was that 13? 14?
Roughly.
And then she gets scouted and gets invited to come to France, where then they're like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful, but you're not dark enough. When do we get to hear that as Black people? You're too light." And then after that, she got a chateau. She got tigers and talking snails, and then she gets recruited to become a spy, and then she learns how to fly.
Yes,
Josephine.
So the plane crashed, though.
Oh.
But it crashed on the day that they found out that the war was over. And so they're literally getting out of the plane like, yeah, we found out the war is over. So they're like not that sad that they crashed, but that's something that I read that I was like, oh my God.
Wait. On top of that, she survived a plane crash?
She survived a plane crash.
Yo.
Also, during her spy years, like later in the spy years, because this was a few years, she got like deathly ill.
Yeah.
And, it depends on who's like detailing this information. Some people say that she got pregnant and then like lost the baby. Other people say like she had this mysterious illness and she was told that she's going to die and everything like that. And she was like, no, I'm not dying. Remember, she leaves when she's ready to leave.
That's true. That is true.
But I feel like she must have had, I don't know what the illness was, but she got sick a few times in her life. But it was always some weird medical thing that I had never heard of. So I'm thinking she probably had something like, sickle cell or what's it, something that's similar to sickle cell?
Like Crohn's disease, which isn't similar, but one of those like very untalked about Black illnesses.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it happened several times where she would be like debilitated and the doctor would be like, I don't know, like they're literally riding back home to France.
Yeah.
Josephine's dying.
Oh my gosh.
She's dead. But she's in bed still doing her spy thing.
Wow.
And like giving orders and stuff in like Africa and Portugal.
Wow.
And, like all these places.
Yo, she was squad. They don't make them like that anymore. That is intense. Wow. So on top of that,
yeah,
she's
I be looking at
commanding from
myself like, girl, what are you doing with your life?
Well, first of all, we're not gonna do that, okay? That's what we're not gonna do, because you out here making it happen. This thing, your segment of her life is gonna open up doors to things about her that no one knew, and things about your bank account you didn't even know needed to happen. All right, but but on top of that, she really is a one of a kind. Just experience on Earth. Like, how many people get to live that many versions of themselves in a life cycle? And she did it in 68 years.
Yeah, she's the queen of reinvention.
Yes, yeah. That's it. That's good. That's another title. Okay, there's another title. So let me see. What was the first one that you said? Because that one was really good too. You said she was the very first Black international superstar. Now she's also the queen of reinventing herself, which is true. When you're a spy and a Gemini, you're constantly having to reinvent yourself. And then on top of that, you used another really funny one. Speaking about her entertainment career, you said that she was like who Angelina Jolie aspires to be, which was international megastar who does all this spy work, except Angelina Jolie's is restricted to movies, and hers is her real biopical. Is that a word? I don't be knowing. Her real biographical life. Is that the word? I don't be knowing.
Yes.
Okay.
Her real life.
So then she also, like you said, was a international sex symbol, something that wasn't very well, something that Black people didn't get the appraisal for back then, and Black women specifically still struggle to receive the accolades. I'll say it like this: it feels like people want to celebrate the sex appeal of Blackness without celebrating Black skin, and it feels like your depiction of hers in France, that was quite the opposite. So where I'm asking, I think where I'm going with that is, based off your experiences with Josephine, what are your biggest takeaways from her life? How do you incorporate her life into how you view yourself and how you approach your day-to-day task?
Wow, that's a really good question. I would say have a YOLO mentality. You only live once, so just go for it. there's something that like a lot of like successful people talk about, and that's having a position of yes energy. And so she always said yes, even when she didn't know what was on the other side of the pond. Like, no matter what the thing was, it was always yes.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel like, a lot of people will struggle with because they start thinking like, oh, I can't do this, or what if this happens? She never really, I think she always stayed in the present. I think she was a bit of she was a trailblazer and a visionary of sorts, but I feel like she stayed in the present a lot and like really embraced like, this is the current season that I'm in, and I'm jumping all in, and I'm embracing all of it. So being present, having a YOLO yes energy mentality, pushing past fears. I'm sure she was scared, sometimes, but she just did it anyway. So, and then the last bit of it is just knowing that there are no limitations. Whatever you decide for yourself is the label that you have for yourself. So,
Yeah. You know what? I love that. I love that. I think that's a lesson for all of us to be able to take away is to be present, fully engaged with whatever you are doing, to be fearless in your approach towards life, and to be limitless. Don't put limitations on yourself. Let the universe deny you before you deny yourself. And she truly does embody that. And in my short time of getting to know you, I can say the same thing about you. You've been just a person who's always speaking manifestation into existence, and being brave, and being present. And it's so funny that that's the wording that you use, because I'm gonna take a pause real quick, a tech pause. Hey guys, go ahead. I'm just gonna let the house settle so I can talk and not have to try to like capture the audio out.
yeah,
Let me
no
know when
worries.
y'all settle. Y'all had fun? Well, not fun, but for real? You good, baby? I clap to find my pauses. Okay. And we're back. All right. And Trox audio sync 3, 2, 1. Monet, do yours. There we go. That was Monet's audio sync. Okay. So yeah. What's so funny about that choice of words is that's kind of the journey me and my wife are on right now. And I feel like I talk about her every episode. Yes, guys, I'm a sap. I'm in love. But
I love it. I love that.
uh, I get anxiety because I'm trying to exist in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you guys. Is my mic picking you up? So what was I? Okay, yeah. So it's funny that you bring that up, because that's what a journey me and my wife are going through right now. It's just like being present, kind of like being fearless, and kind of being limitless, just in our approach towards life. And the only way we know how to do any of that is to remove our efforts from that, and like kind of live in this supernatural superpower, this higher calling. And it really does seem like that's what she was doing, because no human on their own has access to the abilities that she had access to. And my assumption would even be, I'm curious to know if you even came across something like this. My assumption would be that she had some essence of spirituality as well, if she's having a heart big enough to adopt 10 kids, having a heart open enough to be married multiple times, because that's brave in its own way. And then the sweetness and softness to interact with the forgotten elements of the animal kingdom, such as snails. Just kind of feels like she's this Mother Teresa figure who wasn't afraid to pick up a gun.
Yeah, yeah. Mother Teresa with a gun. I love that. That's a great.
There's your character description for her.
Yeah, she had a very deep faith. She definitely believed in God. I want to say she was a Christian. She prayed often. Um, gosh, I forget this phrase. Her husband asked her, uh, darn it. Her husband was asking her about if she would kill or something, and because of her faith. And she had like this quip. You're gonna have to cut this out because I can't remember now. Her husband had like this. He was asking her about basically her faith and like Nazis. Like, would she have a problem like taking them out? And she was just like, if I need to,
I'm gonna do what I gotta do when
I
I need
gotta
to
do
do
what I
it.
gotta do, girl. Then we gonna pray about it after.
Yeah, that's it. Big Daddy Harry said, "You gotta do what you gotta do, kid."
By the way, I apologize. I know, Harry, you're no longer with us, but I apologize for my Harry voice.
Harry might be up there or down there, like, man, how she know me? She sounds just like me. How she know me?
But yes, she had a very, very strong faith. She was always praying, in meditation, and had a very solid relationship with God.
I love that. I truly do love that. Well, you know what? I will tell you, this has not felt like 56 minutes worth of a podcast, but we are approaching that finish line. So, with that, we're going to do one more thing and then we're going to shut this cast down. Is there anything that people should know about Josephine that we didn't get to talk about today? Is there any roses you need to give her? Is there a portion of her story that you just feel like not enough people know about? If yes, what might that be?
Well, two things stand out. I think you touched on it. One, that she gave a speech for the March on Washington during when MLK was doing his I Have a Dream speech. She was there and she gave a speech. But one thing that I think made her kind of sad was that in America, the Black people kind of called her a traitor,
Wow.
and she really, truly, truly loved Black people, and she
Mm.
really wanted the best for them. Not just Black people, but everyone,
Yeah.
she was all about equality, like period, point blank. But just that, I think you touched on it really, that she just had a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Really. And she wasn't just this diva. She had an enormously big heart. And, that was demonstrated through her passion. And she had passionate love affairs, a passionate life. But she was also passionate about, her children and like the world being a better place for her kids. I don't know if I want to end on this, but so she had her kids, which were called the Rainbow Tribe. And she specifically chose kids from all over the world because she wanted to prove that different races could live together and get along.
Also, Angelina Jolie. Look at this. I see why
Yeah,
you said
so
that
I'll
now.
just leave it there because I'll just leave it at that point.
So, all right. So let me wrap this. Let me figure this out. So the biggest takeaways from her again are: be patient. Excuse me, be present. Probably not be patient. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't think she
But be present, be fearless, and be limitless. And also be the change in the world you want to see, which is one of my wife's
Yes,
favorite
be the
quotes. And I think
change
that's
in
from
the
Boo.
world you want to see. That's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So no, good gracious. There's so much to cover. We could do a whole mini series on her. Because she's just such a prolific individual that I think a lot of people sleep on. So thank you for waking us up to her. Thank you for introducing her to my audience. And ladies and gentlemen, if you love Monet's take on Josephine Baker, again, make sure you follow her. And that is at Monet Ravenell. And if I'm spelling this correct, it is at Mone as in elephant T RAV as in Victor, E as in elephant, N E as in elephant, LL. Make sure you follow my homie. and you can find out so much more about Josephine Baker, as well as how to get your business in order, as well as how to be a person who can capture 6 different voices on the fly and so many other things. But now we're going to close on my favorite segment of the show. All right. And that is called, actually, let me test you since you're my friend. Listen, she's like, I haven't finished the podcast yet. I'm sorry. I do enjoy you. I do enjoy you, but I haven't finished the episode of your podcast yet. But here's what we do. So at the end of each episode, we do 5 on 5. Okay. That is 5 rapid this or that questions. And you get to make your choice without having to explain yourself. And people who have questions about your choices can hit you up on social media and get their answers there. You ready for this?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Dancing or singing?
Dancing.
Okay, perfect. Whales or dolphins?
Dolphins.
Okay. Pizza or subs?
Pizza.
Smart girl. Okay, here we go. Now, this is where it gets hard. I saved the last 2 for the best 2, okay? You ready? Prince or Michael Jackson?
Woo!
Supposed to be rapid. Who came to your mind first?
No explanation.
And who came to your head first? It's got to be rapid.
Okay, this person did come to my head first. Prince.
Okay. We'll leave it there. And
but then... I don't know that that's really the answer.
Well, you know
I'm very uncomfortable by this segment, Rhoda. This is a very awkward way to end this show. But I feel like I thought of him.
Why do you feel like you thought of him first? Wait a minute.
Can I just give this one disclaimer? Just this one. This one.
Okay.
Because you said dance or singing, so even that one was kind of hard. But I said dance. I did a Prince dance video. So I'm already thinking dance. And so then when you said that, I'm like thinking about Prince. But like Michael Jackson is the king of all kings.
That's what they say. Okay. Last but not least. You ready?
Yes.
Acting or dancing for you? I wish I could see her face. You said acting? I'll tell you what, and we're gonna end right here. If I was betting $1 million on what your answer would be for the last one, I would have won $1 million because I thought you were going to say acting, because dancing can be under the umbrella of acting, but it's very rare that the other way is true.
Ah, yes, that's so true. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Also, I said dancing earlier, so.
That's true. What I said, dancing versus singing. That's because I just discovered that you got a little bit of a songbird in you. I didn't know that. She was reading one of my screenplays, people, and she was acting as the protagonist in it. And there's this part where you have to sing a line, and she like blew us away jokingly. She was joking, but it sounded so good that we took her serious. So again, on top of that, songstress might be another title for her that we're unaware of at this point.
Alex, I think you were the only person taking me serious.
I was out there like, God dang it, that girl got talent. I'm big gun at her on again.
That's so funny. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Do take those compliments. All right. On this note, I think we're going to go ahead and end this podcast before we start a whole nother conversation. This has been really, really fun. You are always welcome to come back and join us here on the IDontBeKnowing podcast and bring the energy, bring the knowledge, and bring the Black girl magic. It's welcome here anytime.
Thank you so much for having me, broda. Love what you're
Absolutely.
doing in the world. I love that you're providing this positivity and entertainment for us.
Hey, that's so sweet. I'm gonna take that compliment. I'm gonna take that. Okay. All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, before we get up out of here, make sure you go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Those really help us lock in the algorithms that are going to draw ads to us and get more views on us. We are trying to build a franchise here and we want to do it with you all. So get in there early and help us out. In addition to that, hit us up on all our social medias if you have suggestions for episodes or if something about this episode sparked your interest and you want to learn more. And make sure you absolutely follow my homie Monet. She's good people and she's one of us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Monet, before we leave, we always ask people, well, we always tell people to do this one thing. We say to them, let's be friends. But you get to do it in your most kitty voice ever, or whatever voice you feel like channeling right now. So I'm going to say it, and then you're going to say it. Here we go. Are you ready? Okay. I've been Trox. This has been my guest star, Monet. Let's be friends, people.
Let's be friends.
All right, we're out. Okay.